I knew something was off the second that I knew what gender was. Like when I was growing up, I knew that I didn't like the color pink, anything that had anything to do with femininity. I was like, get it away from me, I don't touch that stuff. Like, yeah, all of that. And it definitely felt like there was like a missing piece in who I was as a person. You know, my parents always described me as someone who was never afraid to be themselves, but the second that it came to my gender, that was like where things got a little complicated. And, you know, I always considered myself a boy. I was like, why can't I go play with the boys? I was just, you know, a tomboy growing up. And then started going through puberty, and that's when stuff was like, like, it was just like everything just started falling apart, and that's when I first started to have like really bad mental health problems, and I just like started to hate myself. It was like, there were like these milestones that in my head I was never gonna reach, and the second that I reached it, it was like, I have to accept that this is my life. So I was like, I'm not religious, but I would like pray to whoever was listening, like, please just like tomorrow, can I just wake up as a guy? Like, I cannot live this way. Obviously that day never came. And I was like, okay, like the second I get my period, that's like when it's over for me. And that day eventually came along, and I was like, well, I guess this is my life. And I just lost all hope of being able to be the man that I wanted to be. And I was like, okay, I just have to be a girl now. And then one day I was just scrolling through YouTube, and I came across this video. And it was about a trans man and a trans woman who both had transitioned at the same time. And it was just like a small, like 20-minute documentary. And I was like, oh my God, like instant euphoria. I was like, I'm not alone, I'm not crazy. Like all of these thoughts came through my mind, and I just literally was just like, that's exactly what I am. Like I knew it instantly the second that I saw it, like I was trans, and I was like, that is me. Like I saw that guy and I was like, he literally looks like a man, and he was born exactly like me, and he has those exact same feelings. So like, it's possible. And so I like instantly was just like, yep, that's it. So I came out to two of my best friends like a couple months later. And yeah, it was a whole process. I came out to my mum, and it was just like a process of her like figuring out what it was, because she had no idea about anything. So of course she was a little bit skeptical, but she's always, you know, been my number one supporter. Like bought me the clothes that I wanted, let me get my hair cut, all of that. So yeah, I then came out to the rest of my friends when I was 15, and eventually just started going by he, him pronouns. And I went to an all-girls school, so hormones was never an option. Otherwise I would have to have changed schools. So it was a decision of, do I stay at the same school? Do I move? And so we decided for me that it was best to stay at the school that I was at, because having to make new friends, figure out all of that was just going to be too difficult for me. And I was pretty fine. Like it was like year 10 and stuff when we started thinking about this. And I also really love sport. So to be able to continue participating in sport, I had to not take hormones. So it was that whole, like, I didn't want to miss out on things. I was missing out on this whole gender journey that I was on, but it was like I had to pick between the sides, and that was just like a really hard decision for me. And yeah, then I left school and I went to university, and that's when I first started to take hormones when I was 19. And yeah, it was like every day I was waking up to this new experience, and I was like, oh, like in the mirror, I was like, do I have facial hair yet? Like examining like my body. And yeah, so when I started taking hormones, that was when the pieces started falling into place for me. But that was when like the dysphoria around my chest and all those other areas started to come in a lot more. And that's when I like really needed to get top surgery for my mental health. So I went through this whole process, and it was hard. It was a really hard process. So I went to a psychiatrist because you have to get psychiatrist approval and blah, 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 blah. And I actually got refused the first time. And I didn't really understand why, because I was very certain that it was. And he was like, you know, you just need to see a psychologist for 6 months. And I was like, why? Like, come on, like, I've told you literally, like, the psychiatrist that I saw, he said a lot of questionable things. Like, he was like, you know, like, but what if people think that you look ugly after you get top surgery? And I was like, I really couldn't care less. Like, I don't care if it looks bad. I just want to be able to wear a t-shirt in public without having to worry about, like, my binder showing, whether my chest is showing through my binder or, like, being suffocated by my binder, you know. I want to be able to go to the gym and just enjoy my life. I want to go to the beach and not have to wear a t-shirt and, like, worry about people looking at me in a certain way. I just want to be able to be myself. And yeah, it was really frustrating him saying no because I just couldn't see a reason why. And so I went to him again and I was like, why did you say no? And he didn't really have a reason. So I went to a different psychiatrist and he was like, without a doubt, you have gender dysphoria and, like, I think you need this surgery. And I was like, thank God. I was like, yeah. So I went and got surgery last year. So I'm almost a year post-op.
So why is an organisation like this necessary?
It's necessary because the second that I started taking hormones, the second that I got the surgery, that was when my life got better. That's when I stopped feeling so depressed. That's when I got the confidence and things in my life started happening. Like, I feel like I can actually try in aspects of my life now. Like, I do acting and I don't have to worry about people seeing my chest in a performance. Like, I can just be who I am in the performance and do my chest. Same thing in just, like, regular life. I can walk down the street without having to worry about people, like, discriminating against me or saying things to me. It's just life-changing, and I'm, like, happier and confident, and I'm just like myself. I don't feel like I have to apologize to anyone anymore about who I am. So